St Jude's is the equivalent of a private school in Australia like Sydney Grammar. So normally something like St Jude's would cost a lot of money to go to, but because it's free of charge, we have a huge amount of applications. So you could imagine if you got a scholarship to go to Sydney Grammar from kindergarten all the way through to the end of Year 12 and then on to university as well. It is a huge present or scholarship for the family. And so that's why we have so many applications at St Jude's, because number one, it's free and it's a quality education. And we do a lot of other things for the child in regards to welfare, health, medical, we feed the children well, all of those different aspects. 2010 we had over 10,000 applicants applying for our 150 positions. The children have to be very motivated, very gifted and also very poor. Labour laws here in Tanzania state that workers have to be paid about $60 a month. And so most families are living on $2 or less than $2 a day, because not everybody, especially in the factories and the lower rungs, they don't pay that, $60 a month. And so families are really struggling. Close to 100% of our families would have to leave their house and walk for some distance to get water. I don't think any of our families would have water inside their house. I don't think any of our families would have a toilet inside their house. Most of them would walk outside to a sort of drop hole toilet outside their house. Most of our families don't have electricity. Some do. In the slums, you can rent a room for $2 or $3 a month and have a light bulb. In the government schools, children leave home around 6:30, 7 o'clock to go to school. Classes start about 8:30. But usually only 50% of teachers turn up. Of classes, usually a class size is between, I'd say, 80 to 120 children in a class. Very few government schools feed the children, and so the kids have to stay at the school from morning to afternoon with no food. So you'll often see around lunchtime kids leaving school. So often in the afternoon the classes are probably 1/4 because most of the kids have gone home. We put a lot of time into the selection of our children, because I have a lot of people in Australia who work hard, they've got mortgages, they've got families to look after, and yet they're sponsoring a child at St Jude's. So I want to make sure that I give them a good investment. When a family gets their child into St Jude's, it's very emotional, they're very excited, and I think all the family, their shoulders rise by 2 inches, because they think, hang on, we actually might be able to get out of this poverty, right? We might actually be able to lift ourselves out of renting a 1-room house. We might be able to move into a 2-room house in a few years' time.
Kwa jina naitwa Jonathan Nyangusi, nina miaka 50. Ukweli mtoto wangu alivyochaguliwa kwenda kusoma St Jude, nimejisikia vizuri sana, kwa sababu hali yangu kidogo ni duni. Kwa hiyo nikafurahi sana kwa msaada huu ambao nimeupata, kwa sababu kuna wengine sasa hivi hata ambao wako shuleni kidogo wananishinda. Kwa hiyo nimefurahi sana.
Kwa kweli mimi naitwa Sion Sailevu, nakaa kijiji cha Lemanyata. Kabila yangu ni Mwarusha. Sasa nilipopata ufadhili wa huyu mtoto, nilifurahi sana na wote tulifurahia sana. Sasa ninachoomba mimi, ninaomba Mungu awabariki hawa wafadhili wote pamoja na Gema Sisia. Kwa hiyo ninachosema mimi, tunafurahia sana na Mungu amlinde mpaka siku hiyo atakapopata hiyo kazi yake, kijaliwa na Mungu. Angida na lenga shukuru ngai ajo ki ashenga ya itorba elena nikindi beraka ashena lengai.
Currently in 2011 we have 3 schools. Each school roughly has 500 children. We have 2 boarding campuses. We have roughly 1,000 children in boarding. All up, St Jude's educates in 2011 around 1,500 children. We employ about 350 Tanzanian staff to run the 3 schools and 2 boarding campuses. There's 20 school buses, 46 cooks and cleaners. In 2011, our cooks will cook about 800,000 meals. So as the school has grown, I've tried to reduce the percentage of Western to Tanzanian, because the only way that the school can become sustainable is for Tanzanians to be running St Jude's. So I'm very proud to say that each school now has a Tanzanian headmaster and a set of African leaders with him. I'm now really mainly in the fundraising side and slowly delegating that as well. The big pressure is construction. We spend more money on construction than we do running the schools. So we only have 4 more years left of serious construction, and then hopefully we'll be able to, consolidate a bit and have a bit of a break for a while. The way the running costs of our schools and boarding campuses are financed is because we have a sponsorship program. People can sponsor our children, our school buses, our teachers and our boarding houses. And we have all of that information on our website, and it's a number of different packages. A big difference between St Jude's and other charities is that when you donate $1, that dollar comes straight to our account over here in Africa. Our bank in Australia does the transaction for free. We then spend that dollar on bed sheets, fuel for the buses, tyres for the buses, salaries for our teachers, or more wheelbarrows for our gardeners. It has a direct impact, and I can tell you that $10 does make a difference. At the moment, our eldest children are in Form 3, so we have 3 more years of growing until they reach Year 12. The next big step is I'd like them all to go to tertiary education somewhere, whether it's in East Africa or South Africa. We will then finance their tertiary education. Once they've finished their tertiary education, I would love to be able to sort of set up a sort of microfinance type loan system so that we give each child maybe up to $5,000 so that they can start their own little business here in Tanzania, of which they will gradually pay that money back to the school so that it can be then recycled to future students leaving university. Tanzania does not need more labourers. We've got a lot of them. We don't need more electricians or plumbers. What we need is electrical engineers. We need architects. We need structural engineers. We need good lawyers. We need that high-end professional level to make Tanzania go on. I'm hoping that St Jude's will help produce this high-end professional that Tanzania needs, and I believe we will, because our kids are gifted, they're hard-working. When you get children from the poverty or from the very lowest of economical levels, they come from very hard-working families and they're desperate. They will do anything to get out of that poverty rut, and they're just kids you just got to give a chance to. In 15, 20 years' time, I expect to see my children working in hospitals in town. I expect to jump on the plane to go down to the capital city, and one of my students is the pilot. I expect to see engineers helping me with further construction that were once my students. That's what I expect in 15 years' time, and I hope I get some discounts.